Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Thupten-Deki, its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. To boldly go to the inner depths of my mind. When I went into the Peace Corps, I knew it was going to be an external adventure. In moving to the Abbey, I knew it was going to be a great internal adventure, and that has certainly proved to be true. So much of learning the Dharma is 180 degrees counter to my current understanding of how things are. It is a process of uncovering all the many layers to see that much of what I believe to be true is not really true, and to discover that what I don't believe to be true is actually true. One of the biggest themes I have been working on was inspired from the book, The Wisdom of Imperfection, by the psychotherapist and Buddhist Rob Priest. In the book, instead of using the normal definition of dukkha, which means suffering and unsatisfactoriness, he explained it to mean contracted space, and the opposite of sukha as being open spaciousness, a quality of bliss. He says, the degree to which we actually suffer is directly related to the degree to which we are contracting or locking. In our contracted state, we lose relationship to the innate space that is present in reality. If we could open to it, our reality is, in fact, spacious, fluid, and essentially free. Because of our deep-rooted insecurity, spaciousness is intolerable to our fragile hold of our self-identity or ego. The reason this struck me so deeply is that I can see how true it is, and I can observe examples of this on a daily basis. When my mind is open and relaxed, I feel happy. When my mind feels tight or narrow with any kind of perceived threat, I constrict, tighten, and close up in defense. I can feel this when I pay attention to my body and feel how quickly my heart or stomach lock up when I feel the slightest bit of fear, like right now. This fear is driven by a deep sense of self-preservation, of needing to protect this fragile sense of I. And as soon as this contraction happens, the idea of a solid I gets locked into place and closes the door to any other way of seeing things. This confusion about thinking that I am separate and solid is completely opposite from how things really exist. The predominant feeling of insecurity about myself, my existence, and of my basic value as a human being is what causes so much internal pain. The feeling of contraction is also driven not just from aversion and self-protection, but from attachment. It comes from a strong sense of wanting to hang on, hold tightly, and not let go. I can see this in even the tiniest of things, like clinging on to my favorite pair of blue long underwear or my nice heavy work jacket. It feels like letting go of these things is losing a part of myself and losing my sense of security. Which is, as I'm learning in this strange new world, there is no such thing as security. There is nothing that's fixed and solid. This can be terrifying from my current point of view, and it can be seen as liberating from the opposite point of view. As the Sufi poet Rumi said, fear is non-acceptance of uncertainty. If we accept uncertainty, it becomes adventure. If I accept that I have extremely limited control of external and often internal things, then I can let go, step away from that contracted state and open up to a spacious, unlimited way of seeing things. Another huge part of this contraction and gripping starts when I categorize things as good or bad, right or wrong. And once something is assigned to that box of good or bad, the lid is slammed shut and locked. Rarely do I go back and look to see if that label is correct. Examining these categories is a big part of this inner space exploration. Marshall Rosenberg, author and founder of Nonviolent Communication, says that most of us grew up speaking a language that encourages us to label, compare, demand, and pronounce judgments, rather than to be aware of what we are feeling and needing. He says that the more people are trained to think in terms of moralistic judgments that imply wrongness and badness, the more they are trained to look outside of themselves, to outside authorities, for the definition of what constitutes right or wrong, good or bad. It is this almost automatic reaction to categorize that causes so much of our troubles, within myself and with the world at large. Judging myself as worthy or unworthy, another person as right or wrong, or any other object that I experience as good or bad, only creates a sense of division and separation. The biggest thing to question is, what does it even mean for something to be good or bad? How can I so solidly fix such a narrow category to someone or something that is constantly changing and completely diverse and dynamic? Shifting away from suffering and a contracted state means constantly stretching my mind into considering other possibilities and ways of seeing things. And I'm slowly learning to see that there is a big difference between saying, I am lazy, versus, at that moment, I acted in a self-centered way. This way of thinking allows much more space for acceptance and for seeing all the many different causes and conditions that contributed to that moment. I am not at all one fixed, separate, solid category. Nothing is. Instead of judging and labeling, I am trying to get familiar with the idea of simply becoming aware of what I am feeling and needing. If I really look at what I want and need, most often it is the need for connection. This again is totally opposite from my normal mode of contracting and being closed. Connection does not come from getting praise or approval, which is just another way of depending on someone else's opinion and their categorization of me as being worthy or unworthy. Connection comes from an open and genuine flow of appreciation for each other, a simple respect, and a sense of kindness. It is beyond having categories, and it is more in line with a sense of being open-hearted and spacious, of allowing things to be as they are. Connection can be between other people, animals, nature, anything that I come into contact with, if I slow down enough to simply see it for what it is. Thich Nhat Hanh says that to love is to understand. And it is in the space of being present and aware, open and spacious, not contracted and judging, that real love and connection can flourish. To end with another Star Trek quote from Captain Kirk, "The prejudices people feel about each other disappear when they get to know each other." So may all of us keep enjoying the adventure of our inner space, exploration, and to boldly go where the Buddha and many others have gone before.